Hey guys, it's Zach here, and I'm doing another review, but this time I'm not doing a Transformer. I'm doing a Marvel Legend. More specifically, an entire wave of Marvel Legends. This is the AntMan movie Ultron Build-A-Figure wave. So I'm going to be doing, rather than just doing a video for each individual figure, I'm going to do a whole review on the entire wave. So I'm going to take a quick look at each individual figure, and then we will come to the main attraction, which is the Build-A-Figure Ultron. So let me cut away and we'll start with our first figure. Alright, so starting things off, we have AntMan, since this is the AntMan wave. And I think this is a really good representation of the movie AntMan with one major flaw, which is the mouthpiece, which you can see here is exposing that. Now in the movie, when he hits the button on the side, the whole mask opens, the faceplate comes up as well. But when he has the mouth, the whole mask shut, the whole thing is concealing his face. So that is kind of an inaccuracy, but I guess you can pretend like he's opening or closing his mask or something like that. But otherwise, I think it's a really good figure. It's a completely new mold for AntMan. Got really good paint applications, some really nice detailing all the way around. I really love on the helmet with that silver and black, where they kind of made it look worn and battle-tested, but it's got some really nice orange with the pin particles running through the suit. Really good detail overall. I think this is a really good representation. Just to compare the size of the figure, which here is the Marvel Select version of the movie AntMan, which I think head sculpt-wise is far superior, but articulation-wise I really like this one a lot better. And then also just a quick little comparison, you got your little AntMan and Antony 2-pack AntMan, which now you got your little growing scale set up. But anyway, moving these guys out of the way, let's look at the articulation on the figure. So this is really good, pretty basic for Marvel Legends, but in the head it can look up a little bit and down fairly well. It rotates and there's a little bit of pivot in there. In the arms, the shoulders, they move out all this way. They rotate all the way around. A swivel in the bicep, there is a double jointed elbow going on there, and then the wrists, they rotate and they move up and down. At the abdomen area, they have a ab crunch that moves that far, not too far back. There is a waist swivel. The legs move forward about that much, not back a whole lot, but they do move out to the side a little bit. There is a rotation here at the thigh. There's a double jointed knee, and then at the ankle, it can move up a little bit, down fairly well, and then there's an awesome ankle pivot. So moving right along to the next figure, we are going to take a quick look at Wasp. So I'll cut away and show you that. Girl, rather. Here we have the Wasp in her comic-style suit. Just really fast to get out of the way to compare. Here is a fellow superheroine, Spider-Woman, and yeah, I think this figure is nice. There's some good paint applications. Not a whole lot. It's mostly just a black cast figure with some gold, like right down here on her body. And then the fingers and the palms have gold detailing, as well as around the bottom of the boots. So, yeah, fairly good paint-wise. But the head, I think, is really good. The eyes are spot on. No kind of issues there. The hair has a really good black and brown mix to make it seem more scruffy brown hair, which is really nice. Good sculpt as well. Just gives a really good, very well done head overall. As well as the main part of this, she does have wings, which you can splay out in any direction you like. They are a trans-clear, yellowish green plastic. You can see back here they are just pegged into her back, and the smaller wings are just pegged in the same, but they can angle. So they do move back if you want them to do that, which is really nice. And then, you know, if you want them down, you can just make them look like a cape almost. But articulation on this particular figure, the head looks up better than AntMan's for sure. It looks down very well, swivels, and has some pretty good neck pivot. In the shoulders, they move up very far, which is very good. They rotate all the way around, although it can sometimes hit the wings unless you move them out of the way. There is a joint here at the elbow that allows it to swivel and move up and down. Not double jointed, so it can't get as much as some of the other figures, but it gets the job done, especially for her poses, which are more dynamic with her hands out. The hands, speaking of, do rotate and they move up and down. Up here on her chest, they can rotate right here. There's no ab crunch, but that is where you get that articulation out of. In the hips, they can move forward up pretty well. Not very much back and not a whole lot out, but you do get a little bit there. There is also a thigh swivel. Double jointed knees, which are pretty good. The feet move down and up a bit better this time, more than AntMan. And the ankle pivot, which I really do love. But yeah, that's it for the Wasp. Now let's move right along to Bulldozer. Changing pace a little bit, here we have Bulldozer, who is part of the Wrecking Crew. Unfortunately, I do not have any of my other Wrecking Crew figures out at the moment, so I can't compare. But just to give you an idea, here's another figure that you might have or have seen, just to give you a sense of scale. This is Anti-Venom, and you can tell this is a very huge figure. He absolutely dwarfs other regular-sized Marvel Legends. Just bringing back in the Wasp here for a second, you can see how big he is. He's almost as big as a larger Build-A-Figure, which is really nice. He goes very well with the other Wrecking Crew figures if you have those. But to Bulldozer himself, very, very nice figure. He's got some very nice molding going on all over his helmet and armor. The scratch marks and dents. I don't know how well the camera is picking that off, or picking it up rather. But looks very, very nice. Very battle damaged looking, which I do like. Not a whole lot of additional paint other than just on the armor and the orange jumpsuit he's got there. But he does, you can kind of see his mouth in there painted fairly nicely with his teeth and lips, and then his eyes are in there just all black. But very nice looking figure. Probably one of my favorite of the wave, especially considering it finishes our Wrecking Crews that we have long awaited collectors. But articulation on this guy, better than I would have thought in the head. His head moves back very well. It looks down and it hits this, but if you move it back a little bit, it goes down all the way in there, which is very nice. Very good articulation in the neck, more than I would have thought. A little bit of pivot, and it rotates. So that is pretty good. He's got some really nice kind of ratchety joints, almost. You can kind of hear that. And his shoulders, they rotate all the way around, but they can kind of hit the armor there. Bicep swivel, a single jointed elbow, which again, feels kind of clicky. You can kind of see where it's hitting. But that's very nice. It definitely, because he's a bigger figure, will hold a pose better that way. And then there is a swivel right here on the arm where this little bracelet, or not bracelet, but the little armor bit is attached to. That swivels. His hand doesn't go up or move at all other than right here. That's a little disappointing, but this is reuse of an older mold from the other Wrecking Crew figures, so not bad, especially for a big figure. There is a swivel here and an ab crunch that moves down really well and back really well, so that's nice. And the abs don't go back in, so it just kind of looks a little weird there, but you're not going to want to have him pose like that anyway, unless he's looking up. But in the legs, they move out that far. They move up this far. It's on that weird kind of joint where you have to work this around to kind of get it to work. You have to move it and then move that. You can kind of see, but it goes out all right. It goes back a little bit as well. And then double jointed knees, very nice double jointed knees. Those are awesome. And then there is no rotation, which is a little weird. You'd think there could add it in there, but the feet move down, they move up. No ankle pivot, which is kind of disappointing considering he's such a big figure. You'd want him to be in more dynamic poses, but he does have a little bit of a toe movement there, so you can have him look like he's running or something. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite, or one of my favorite at least, of the wave. So next, we'll move along to Tiger Shark. And there he is. A very menacing looking figure, I must say, and some very nice, bright, vibrant colors with the orange and the purple. The orange isn't showing too amazing on my camera, but let's see if I can get it up. It's very nice. It looks very similar to the orange on the Bulldozer figure. It has a very menacing looking head sculpt, especially with those teeth. Gracious me, that is scary. But yeah, it's a pretty good mold to use for him. This has been used plenty of times before, originally on Sentry, I believe. But he's not the most popular character. He's more of a villain filler, I suppose. That's kind of what he is. He His backstory is cool. I've read some of his comics, but figure-wise, I think he comes off nice. He's got this cool fin going on his head, which is kind of a smooth, bendy plastic, so you can move that around if you want to. It doesn't go into the back, so it still doesn't hinder too much articulation unless you're trying to move back. But the paint on mine kind of is off a little bit. You can kind of see it's the purple's kind of coming through there. They needed to add another coat, which is kind of spotty. But from a distance or on the shelf, it looks really good. I really like the marbling effect in the purple. Size comparing real fast. Just to compare, here he is next to the Bulldozer, and you can see similar oranges, but again, Bulldozer is just such a big figure. Oh, mind that, I just bumped something on the side of my desk there. Anyway, for articulation, the guy's head, as you saw, does move down fairly nicely. It does move back and forth, has a little bit of pivot, and it doesn't really move back unless you move this out of the way, in which case it can pop off very easily. So I will tell you, it does pop off a lot easily. It just pushes it right off. So it only goes about that far, and once you probably move it back, it just pops right off. At least on mine, it's very loose. In the shoulders, they move up more than I would expect. It rotates all the way around. There's a swivel in the bicep, double jointed, very nice elbow there. And then in the wrists, a swivel, they move up and down. Here in the abdomen, there's a crunch down forward, a very nice ratcheted, kind of tight too, goes all the way back, very nice. And they did add some extra abs, so you can give him a gajillion pack if you wanted to. Rotates right here at the waist, the legs move out, they move forward, and not so much back, but there is a thigh rotation, which is also very tight. The mold is very tight on this figure. It bends here at the knee, double joint, and then there is a little rotation here on the lower leg, and then the toes move up nicely, down nicely, and ankle pivot, very nice ankle pivot. Overall, very nice figure. Again, the face sculpt is very menacing. The paint kind of messed up a little bit on those teeth, if you can see that. I don't know how well it's coming through, but kind of looks like he's missing a couple. Anyway, nice figure. Not my favorite of the wave, but definitely a good villain filler for your shelves. So moving right along, we will be looking at Grim Reaper. And here we have the Grim Reaper. So this guy is a new mold, surprisingly, especially for, you know, the Grim Reaper's character, which he's not very obscure, but you would think they would just use like the Bucky Cat mold or something for him, but no, it's a totally new body mold, which is really nice. He's got some nice paint. The head sculpt, again, is in that grimacing, kind of psychotic smile, but I like that. See if I can get that to light up better. Kind of see, got the gums going. That's a very comic style face for sure. He's got his nice painted symbol or emblem there on his chest, and a very nice cape. I really do like this. This is removable. Just setting him there for a second. You can see this cape. Very nice. It's nice soft plastic, but it's not like bendable or anything. It's just stuck in this position. But very nice paint wash going on through the darker purple and black to kind of make it look more, even on the inside, more dynamic, I suppose. Just looks very nice. But I would expect them to do that at least, because the whole figure is blue, except for his face, gauntlets, and emblem. So, nice cape. Again, the head is quite nice. I do like his little side hand. Is posable. It's got some nice paint on it as well, or the different shades of silver. Where it gets lighter towards the end. Kind of gives it that effect as if it's being, you know, moved through the air. Articulation-wise, this guy's head moves back that far. Looks down fairly well. It looks side to side. A little bit of pivot. The arms can rotate all the way around. They can go about all the way out. They have a double joint here at the elbow and a bicep swivel. And then on this hand, this side hand can just rotate. But on this hand, it moves down, up at the hand, and then it does swivel. Down here in his chest, it clicks forward that far and clicks back. If you move the cape, it moves back a bit more. One more click. Nice ratchety joints going on there. For the waist down here, it just rotates, the legs kick up, very nice. They don't move back. Again, I'll just take this off for now to show the articulation off. It doesn't really move back. They do move out a little bit. There's a rotation here at the thigh. There's a double jointed knee, and then a little swivel joint at the lower leg. The feet move down, they move up, and then there is that super awesome ankle pivot going on there. So overall, this is a pretty cool action figure. Good Marvel Legend. I really like that cape. It is the cape that's going to be used with the new Vision and a couple of other figures in a nice purple. I do like it. I like his little horns up here. Looks pretty cool. Nice side hand. Pretty imposing looking figure, I guess. But overall, looks good. I'll move right along to the next one, which is Giant Man. And here we have the last figure of the wave that I will be showing off before we get to the Build-A-Figure, Giant Man, and his newer style of costume. It looks nice. It goes with the same design as the Comic-Con exclusive AntMan box set that comes with the large AntMan, not AntMan, Giant Man figure. So if you wanted to have a small and a tall version, that's the same style of costume, but it's not in any of the original alteration style costumes. So, you know, you're not going to get a very good shrinking scale for now until they come out with some bigger and smaller figures of this guy. But the paint on this guy is really nice, spot on. I don't see really any issues. All around, really nice. I got the black going all the way around. You know, he's got a cool little silver belt buckle there going on. And the little antennas, these are just soft. You can pose them out to be more comic or back a little bit to me. You know, however you want them to be. They're movable. Nice head sculpt, by the way. I like that. The eyes are really good. I don't know how well you're seeing that, but if I can get it to focus, you can kind of just see they did pretty good with the paint on that. On mine, the fists are really loose. They're just, you just tap them and they, you know, rotate. They're very loose. They don't like to keep a pose, but it doesn't come with any additional hands. It's just these fists, so you can still get him in a good fight pose. He is just a basic Bucky Cat mold. Very basic figure. Like, you know, if this was unpainted, this would just be the base for a lot of Marvel Legends, minus the little horns, of course. But articulation on this guy is quite nice. The head moves up very nicely, down very nice as well. It rotates, really not any pivot, but side to side, of course. The arms can go out that far. They rotate all the way around. Again, very nice clicky joints. There's a bicep swivel, nice double jointed elbow there. And then at the fist, which I do really like the painted gloves they got going there. They do rotate very loosely again, but they do go down and up. Not too well, just because of mine are very loose. I don't know if that's just a mass-produced error or just on mine. But down here goes that far. Not a whole lot back, just one tick. Basic, you know, articulation we've seen before with this mold. But again, it does rotate here at the waist. The legs kick up, go back a little bit, and go out this far. There is a rotation here on the thigh, double jointed knee, it goes about that far. Another rotation at the lower leg, and the feet move down, up, and has ankle pivot, which is very tight on here, which is nice. But yeah, that is the last figure before we go to the Build-A-Figure. So we are going to move on to Ultron. So, see you guys in a second. There are no strings on me. That's right, they have the Build-A-Figure, which is the Age of Ultron style Ultron. So, movie, MCU style Ultron. Very, very nicely detailed figure. I love all the sculpt work going on in here. All throughout, very nice. You know, mechanical detailings. Also, when you have lights bouncing off this guy, if you see I shine the light on him, it's very metallic looking. I really like that. Unfortunately, with this figure, the entire backside is just that unpainted gray plastic. You can't really see that too well on camera with the light shining off. It still looks like silver, especially up here. I mean, there is a little bit on the shoulders, but other than that, It's all just that plain gray, you know, plastic, unpainted. But if you have the light shining on it or have a well-lit room, it definitely is not too noticeable. I think this figure is very nice, especially on a shelf. Looks very good. He's tall. He's even taller than the Bulldozer. Just to bring him in here, you can see just how tall he is. And bringing in Giant Man just to see, you know, a basic size Marvel Legend. This guy is pretty tall, so he does obviously, you know, show that he is a threat to the Avengers. Taking these guys off to the side. Overall, very nice figure. It does have some good red paint, you know, down here in the a little bit in his arms, on his neck, goes up into there. Eyes, very menacing head sculpt. I like that. It's not the best, most accurate head sculpt, but I think, you know, from certain angles, it looks really good. I do like that. I like the little ear pieces going on there. But yeah, overall, very nice. Articulation. His head looks up a fair amount. Decent amount downwards. Rotates, not really any pivot. I guess, you know, a little bit. But the arms move out fairly nicely. Rotate all the way around. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. However, they don't go as far as some of them. The hands, they go up, they go down very nicely, and they rotate, so you can get his, you know, dynamic Ultron poses. Waist goes like this, and there is some very nice, very clicky abdomen crunch there, and a nice silver goes all the way up in there, so it looks very good. Kind of continues the design of his spine all the way in there too, so if you're trying to, you know, give him a nice pose, the detail is still there. The legs are a little disappointing. They move that much forward, that far back, not really any, and not really out at all. That's about as far as they go. They do rotate, however. They do bend quite nicely. And then the foot bends down, up, and does get that nice ankle pivot. So I wish they did move forward and back and out a little bit more, just so, you know, you could still get him if you angle his abdomen, you know, get him in a sitting position like you see in towards the beginning of the movie. But for the most part, I think he could use a little bit more in terms of leg articulation. But as a figure itself, as a Build-A-Figure, is it worth getting the whole wave for? I would have to say yes if you do not have an Ultron, or if you just want a MCU version of Ultron. But if you already have the Marvel Select Ultron or some other figure, I think he is a pass. This is a nice wave. It's nice to have the new updated Wasp, and I do like the Giant Man. You know, so there's some good figures. It's definitely a good wave to have if you are trying to collect or complete, you know, your collection. But overall, it's a nice Build-A-Figure. It goes well with the other figures, as you saw in the group shot at the beginning of the video. So I think that's all there is to say about this wave. This has been the Ultron Build-A-Figure Ant-Man movie wave. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and as always, leave suggestions down in the comments to let me know what you want me to do next. Review or, you know, haul video, anything like that. But I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.